recording this now. And we're going to start talking overall about how to use OneDrive for what it is, what it's not. That's really important. And essentially, some of the features and benefits of OneDrive. And again, hopefully everyone can see this. Some of the one other key thing we're going to go through today also is some issues or troubleshooting steps that you may need to know for troubleshooting synchronization for OneDrive. So I'm going to make sure everybody's muted here. Hold on half a sec. I hear a lot of background noise. I'm just going to mute everybody. There we go. Okay, great. So if you need to say anything, just type it into the chat window because I do have everybody muted. Okay, so again, we're going to be talking. First thing is, what is the difference between OneDrive and OneDrive for Business?
I don't have a chat window or anything else.
The chat window is in your Skype client. There is a place where you can put in chats. I'm going to type something in there now. So you should see that pop up, and that will be so you know who is in the chat window.
And minimize that. You really shouldn't be.
There we go. All right. OneDrive.
To yourself, press *6.
All right. I got everybody muted. All right. Somebody's got a speakerphone on, and we're getting feedback. Try this again. OneDrive is the home use version. OneDrive for Business is the one that comes with your Office 365 client. If you install or have a Windows 8 or get a Windows 10 PC, you'll see sometimes an option to save to one. We are focusing on OneDrive for Business, and you'll see in the presentation today how you can easily tell the difference between OneDrive versus OneDrive for Business. But I just want to be clear, as we're going through, we are talking about the OneDrive for Business application. All right. OneDrive for Business, as I mentioned, is part of your Office 365 subscription. It allows you to save all sorts of files into your OneDrive. OneDrive is cloud storage. Right? It is a place in the Microsoft Cloud as part of your Office 365 subscription where you can save your files. And as you can, hopefully for those of you who can see the screen, and you'll be able to see this in the recording, OneDrive is sort of the My files, the My documents. You're probably used to saving stuff in My Documents. That is what we typically put into OneDrive for Business. Stuff that is yours, that you control, you own, you manage. There's another side of this, what we call the Our documents, the team site, and that is something called SharePoint. On the server, in your regular day-to-day, you may be used to saving some stuff into My Documents and some stuff into another drive that's up on the server. So that's sort of the delineation or distinction between the two. OneDrive is the me, SharePoint is the us. Some of the main features that you get with OneDrive for Business, you also get with SharePoint, with the exception of the terabyte of cloud storage. But here is what you get. Every user, as part of your Office 365 service, gets 1 terabyte of cloud storage. Now, a terabyte, if you're not familiar, data is saved in file sizes: a kilobyte, a megabyte, a gigabyte, a terabyte. If you opened up your My Documents and you looked at a file and you saw the file size, it'll probably be 250 kilobytes or 2 megabytes. All right. There's 1,024, just so you know, a little over 1,000 kilobytes in a megabyte. There's 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte and 1,000 gigabytes in a terabyte. So if you figure 1 terabyte is an awful lot of space. That's really the point. That's like would be parking a bicycle in an airplane hangar. If you thought about a file being a bicycle and the airplane hangar being your OneDrive, you could park an awful lot of bicycles into that airplane hangar. There are some limits, and we'll talk about those, one of which is important: file size. You can't put a file larger than 2 gigabytes to synchronize into a OneDrive account. It does cause some issues, so file sizes should be smaller. It allows you to share. Now, when you put something into a OneDrive, you are the only one who has access to it. Nobody else can see it. Nobody else can edit it. Nothing. It's yours until you decide you want to share that file or a folder with lots of files with somebody else. And that somebody else can be within your company. They can be outside of your company: opposing counsel, a client, a vendor, right? A partner. You can share. And when you share, and we'll talk about it in a moment or two, you can say, okay, I want this person that I'm sharing with to be able to read only, to view the files. I don't want them to mess around with anything, but they can see it in view. Or you can say, no, I would like them to be able to edit what I am sharing. Let them be able to create a new file in this folder. Let them be able to modify a document that we're working on. Okay, you have that option. Even better, the best thing I think about OneDrive for Business is the last item. And we'll talk about this also. Anywhere access from any internet-connected device. You can get to your OneDrive files. Log on to a PC at home, and I'll show you how in a moment. You can go into your OneDrive, and there's all your files. And you can download them. You can edit them in the web apps. You can upload and post new stuff in there from any internet-connected PC. And that is really where some of the power of it comes into play. Now, as I mentioned, there are some restrictions. As we said, you can't have a file that's bigger than 2 gigabytes. There is an application that will probably have already installed on most of your PCs that you're not even aware of, called the Sync tool, the OneDrive for Business Sync tool. And what that does basically is it takes all the files that you put into your OneDrive, which is, again, up in the Microsoft Data Center. It's not sitting in your office, but it makes a local copy of those files on your PC. So you can edit them quickly. You can save stuff into that OneDrive folder, and I'll show you this, and then it just synchronizes the changes up to the cloud for you. Very similar to if you've ever used Dropbox. You work on something, you put it in the Dropbox folder, and then it synchronizes up to the main Dropbox site. All right. Now, the Sync tool, which is really good, but it has some limitations. You cannot synchronize more than 20,000 files. Now, that may seem like a lot, and it is, which is why it's the limit. You can have far more than that. You can have 50,000 files if you want in your OneDrive, as long as it's within 1 terabyte, but it will only synchronize to your local PC, wherever you have that sync tool running, 20,000. All right, that's the limit. You cannot sync a file if it has more than 256 characters. A space counts as 3 characters, just so you know. How would you get 256 characters, you ask? Well, if you think I have a file that's sitting in a folder, so I have it in my documents, / this company name, / this year, / this month, / something else, and then I have a long file name, the people versus, Philadelphia Public Transit Authority, May 2015, docket 1, blah, 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 .xl. That whole path is the name of the file. So everything from the MySpace documents / this, da-da-da, / that, and remember, spaces count as 3 characters. So you can easily see you can add up 256 characters. That is not a OneDrive restriction. That is a Windows. You'll have the same problem if you try to save something on your PC or on the file server, LawDC, or anywhere else. It's a Windows limitation. Likewise, you can't have certain characters in the file name. No / or backslashes. Can't have an asterisk or question mark or quotes or hashtags or %signs. And you'll see these, if you can't see it now, you'll see them when you view the recording. And I'll also post this presentation, the slide deck, for your download pleasure. And that's just because those special characters are used by Windows as control characters. They indicate something else. For instance, a question mark is considered a wildcard in searches. Same with a star. So if you're looking for all documents, you ever did a search for star.doc, that means anything with a .doc extension. So you can't use those special characters in the file name. It also won't sync temp files, which is good. You don't want to waste space and sync tool time synchronizing temp files. You will, I guarantee this, at some point have errors with the synchronization because of one of these issues. There are tools to fix them. We call them the Easy Fix tools, and they will solve many synchronization errors, and we'll discuss those in a little bit as well. But I just want to make sure you understand that OneDrive is a great tool to allow you to save data for easy access from outside of your network. It's secure, it's safe, it's great. But like anything else, you just have to work within its boundaries or the confines of what it can do or can't do. So that's important. Most important thing, as I mentioned earlier, is the ability to access this data from anywhere. Okay? You just log into your Office 365 subscription, go to portal.office.com, you log in, and you hit the OneDrive icon. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now, actually, just so you can see, because you can, amaze your friends, amaze your family. Now, it may take a moment before you see this until it comes up. But I'm just going to log into portal.office.com. There's our motley crew. Very frightening. You can also log in at login.microsoftonline.com, but I find that's way too long to type, especially people who are all thumbs like me. So I just go to portal.office.com. Much faster. And I have a link here to my OneDrive. And I can do this from my home PC. I can do this from my friend's house. I'm visiting relatives for the holidays. I can log in. I can get to my files without having to schlep my laptop, around the world with me. And here are all my files. There's everything I could possibly need that I've saved in my OneDrive are all right here. And from any of these, I can simply, let me just find a good Word document, just to show you. That's a PowerPoint. Okay, so here is a Word document. I can click on this little ellipses if I want. If I have Microsoft Word installed on my PC, it gives me the option to open it up in Word. If I don't have Word on my PC, or I don't want to use Word, I can open it up in the Word Online web app, which is what I'm going to do. And anyway, there it is, in the web app, Word Online. I can now edit the document. Again, it gives me the choice if I want to make any changes. I could print it. I can share it. Now, I don't have to be in here to share it. I can click on the ellipses, as we talked about. I can share it. Who do I want to share it with? Well, let's see. Do I have Jerry in my contact list? No, I don't. What is it? SchragerLaw.com. There she is. I can give Jerry the choice. Can she edit the doc, or can she just view it? Do I want to require her to log into Office 365 in order to be able to access this? Now, if somebody does not have an Office 365 account and you have required that they sign in, they will be prompted to create a Windows Live ID, which is the Microsoft public kind of Hotmail, Outlook.com account. I strongly suggest do not require that unless you have a valid reason to do so. You don't want to inconvenience people and make them have to create a Microsoft Windows Live ID just to get to what you're trying to share. So typically, I say don't. And then it sends them an email invitation. Say, hey, you know that great guy Neil Zimmerman from Dorset Connects that you love working with? Well, he sent you access to this file. And I'm going to share it. And after this presentation, you all can go bother Jerry to see what that invitation looked like. But she will get it, and she'll be able to open it up and view this document that'll be totally irrelevant to her, makes absolutely no sense. But you understand, the point is that it's very easy to share, to say, hey, I want to give you read permission, I want to give you edit permission, I can share it with people outside of my company. All right. Another thing about the OneDrive web app, so you can download files, you can delete files, you can move them into different folders, copy them, rename them. Very cool. There's a version history. I don't know that this file has any versions. No, just the one when I created it. But if it had multiple versions, and I'm not sure if I have too many here, maybe this one. No, PowerPoints don't have versions. Bad example. Let me look at this one. Just one version. Okay. But if you do have multiple versions, you will be able to see the list of versions. So if you want to go back, hey, what did that old one look like? You can get to it right from here. And that's a real nice feature of it. Okay. Another thing, you can access your OneDrive files directly from Office, from your Office applications. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is very cool. You don't need to go to the web to get to your files. I'm just going to open up Microsoft Word here. This is Microsoft Word. I'm going to open a file. And if you notice, I can open from my OneDrive. And there's the same folder list and structure that we were just looking at. Matter of fact, there's that Wi-Fi doc that I just shared with Jerry. Okay. There's that OneDrive Personal that we said stay away from. Because I'm running Windows 10 and I'm signed in with my Microsoft account, I have access to my personal OneDrive. We are talking about the OneDrive for Business. Look at the icons. Notice the name. Yours will say OneDrive / McLaughlin Lauricella or Schrager Law. It won't say personal. And it'll have your username, which is your email address, listed underneath. So you can open directly from here. Likewise, if I wanted to create a document, and I go to save, same thing. I could save it right into my OneDrive, whatever subfolder I'd like to go to. From Word, PowerPoint, Excel, access any of your Office applications, give you this direct connection into OneDrive. Also, into your SharePoint site. If you have a SharePoint library set up and you have access to it, you'll be able to choose them here as well. So it makes it very, very easy to access your files. And lastly, there are mobile apps for the Android, the iPhone, and even the Windows phone. All right, there is a Microsoft Office app that you can download. You'll log in with your Office 365 credentials, and boom, there are all your files. And if you also install, like the app or the iPod or iPad, Office apps, the Word app or the Excel app, you'll be able to edit them directly on your phone or mobile device. And so it just makes it so easy to get to your files. You're at a client, you're at a meeting off-site, you need to look something up. Boom. Or somebody was working, a secretary or a paralegal was working on a brief, a proposal, a document, something. Rather than them emailing it to you for you to then have to open it up, wait for it to download, etc., you just open up, go into the folder where that file is stored, click on it, and boom, there it is for you. So again, real powerful, easy access. Okay. Now, I mentioned syncing files with OneDrive for Business, and that is important. Like I said, there is a sync tool available. And what that does is it creates a local sync folder on your PC. I believe we've already installed it, and Chris tells me that he already has your My Documents from your PCs redirected into your OneDrive. So you may not even know it's happening. And I think it's already going on behind the scenes. What it looks like, if you looked at it by your clock on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you want to look for a little icon, and you may have to click the up arrow that has a cloud, a blue cloud. Let me see if I can show you mine real fast. I'll show you mine. Hang on a sec. I have to present the other side of my desktop here. Lost control. Here we go. It's not going to let me without breaking it. I don't want to do that. Okay. Thought it would. All right. So again, you want to look for a little cloud, blue cloud icon. This white one over here, just so you know, that is the OneDrive Personal. Right, this over here is the Personal. You don't want to use that. Okay, this is the one that you want to use. And again, occasionally, as you see in this case, it's got a little, I don't know how well you can see it, a little exclamation point, little warning sign. That means that there's a sync error. Okay, and it's usually due to one of these reasons. The invalid characters, I got a temp file, there's access, or you just have you're syncing too much stuff and you've hit that 20,000 point limit. Okay, that's usually what occurs. Okay, if it's due to a file name, which is also very, very common, you can see. You just open up your folder that you're synchronizing. In this case, your My Documents. Everything synchronizing is going to have this nice, happy little check mark. Okay, I'm going to do my Bob Ross. It's going to have a happy little check mark right here, and it's living next to its friends with these other happy little check marks. Now over here, you'll see I have a red X. It's because this file is not synchronizing. And I bet if you look closely, you'll see why. I have an invalid character. File name. Renaming the file will solve the sync issue and allow that to work. Sometimes, and this is weird, a file just kind of gets stuck in sync. So just opening it up and closing it will resolve the issue. You look at it, you say, well, gee, it doesn't have any special characters. It's not too long of a file name. I don't know why it's not syncing. Open it up. Open it up and close it back out. Lots of times that solves the issue. Lastly, what you can also do is you can run a repair. That little cloud icon that we talked about down in your system tray, if you right-click on that, you're going to get this menu. And the easiest thing to do is just hit repair. And what that will do is, as it says right here, it's going to disconnect all the libraries from synchronizing, and then it's going to reconnect them. So it's going to reestablish that connection with your cloud storage and see if that solves the issue. Then, anything that has unsynced changes, it's going to create a backup copy of. This way, if it fails and something breaks or pulls down an older version, you'll have a copy of your latest version with those unsynced changes. You don't have to worry about anything getting lost or deleted by running a repair. That's one of the cool things about that. Now, I'm going to demo a little bit more of this for you for a second. Close out the PowerPoint. And I am going to close this out for a second. And I'm going to talk about OneDrive a little bit more. Okay, hang on half a second. And let me get over to here. All right, with OneDrive, and I'm going to show you my OneDrive folder. You can see what it looks like. Here is Windows Explorer for me. And as you can see on the left-hand side, I have a folder called OneDrive. Up here, this is my personal, and then I have OneDrive with my company name on it. And if you look closely, I don't know how well you can see it, it's got a little hurricane symbol and 2 blue arrows. That means it's currently synchronizing. And if you also notice, I have green check marks. And green check marks, meaning all these files are synchronized. But I do have a couple that currently may not be synchronized. And I see really, I probably have some pictures or something that haven't synchronized yet. And that's probably true because I was away over the weekend and I was taking some pictures as I was touring colleges with my daughter, and I've uploaded them, and they just haven't synchronized yet. Right? That's really all there is to it. I can come over here and I want to see how big my OneDrive storage is. I can go into Properties, and if that ever wants to open up, it's calculating. I can see it's calculating right now. That may take a little time because it's got, oh, there we go. Okay, I have 8,701 files, and I'm only at 8 gigs. So remember before I said, picture of a bicycle in an airplane hangar? Oh, there you go. Right? That's a better view. And as you can see, synchronized, 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 everything is happy, happy. I'm going to show you something, how something can be bad, or what it looks like again. And we just kind of went through this, but I think it's important that you may see this. I'm just going to take this file here. I'm just going to rename it for a second. And just an invalid character. Open it up. Type in gobbledygook so it knows it's got something to save. And what's going to happen is, you see, the status bar here is kind of filling. It's scanning through the folder. And when I come back to it in a little bit, this green check mark is going to be red because I have that special character in it. And then all I'll have to do is rename it. And the next time it scans, I'll be able to fix it again. Oh, it didn't take my change. It didn't like the change. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't like my change. I did it too quick. It says, oh, bad character, wouldn't let me do it. That's new. That is new. There was a new version of the tool that I just installed 2 weeks ago. Microsoft had so many people complaining about the sync tool, they released a new version of it. So that's interesting. That's a new one. I've not seen that happen before, but pretty cool. So anyway, just to jump back here real fast. All right, that is pretty much it on the use of the OneDrive and sync tool. What I'm going to do is ask if you have any questions, just pop them into the chat window. That's probably the easiest way to answer this. I'm going to stop presenting my screen. Back to here. There we go. Okay, so if you have any questions, now would be a great time. Just put them in the chat window. I can try to start unmuting people. I think it's just easier if we chat and then I'll answer the question for everybody. That probably would be good. Okay. I see somebody asked. I got a couple questions here already. Great. Fantastic. When sharing with an outsider, does the person you're sharing with have to have OneDrive also? Cheryl, awesome question. No, they don't. No, they don't. Like I said, you share with somebody. If you email them, or have the option to email to require a sign-in. Excuse me, require sign-in. What is going to happen is they will have to log in with either an Office 365 or a Windows Live ID. If you say do not require login, then they can just get to it through a web link and they'll be able to open it up. Only thing it requires is that they have something to view it in. Word, Excel, if you send them a Word doc, they have to have something to be able to view Word docs. If you send them a PDF, almost everybody has Adobe Acrobat or a Reader or something. That's all they need. They do not have to have OneDrive. Cheryl had another question. Are versions of documents automatically saved? Yes. Yes, they are. You do not have to save as a new version. The version history, if you're saving into your OneDrive, it will maintain version history. Now that's different. If you're saving it into your C drive or you're saving it up to the server, version history is not going to be built into it yet. In that case, you would have to save as a new version. If you're saving it into your OneDrive, that version history happens automatically. Jerry's got a great question. What is SharePoint? Okay, SharePoint. What is SharePoint? SharePoint, as I mentioned earlier, is sort of the us as opposed to the me. What does that mean? Okay, I'll show you. Great question. To represent my desktop, I'm going to do this monitor. Give it a second, and I'm going to show you what SharePoint is. Here again is my OneDrive. I'm just going to go into our SharePoint site. Give it a moment to log in. Come on, baby. Oh, that's wrong URL. Try this again. I had a security prompt on the other window that I didn't. Okay, try this. S. There you go. Notice all SharePoint is HTTPS. S means secure. This is our SharePoint site. This is nothing great. You know, there are better SharePoint sites in this world, but it works for us. What it is, think about it as a company portal or intranet. All right, a place where you can share information. For instance, we have our Dorset Connects Code of Conduct that we have going here in a little slideshow. We have our team on call and PTO, time off calendar. Everybody can see who's on call, which weeks, who's on time off, and when. Use that. We have some links to documents and websites for quick access posted on here. We have folders. We have a listing of all of our clients on here and their contact information for our support team. All of our clients, and you can do this for project-based or anything, have subsites where we keep our support documentation. You know, how to create a new user account, how to set up a PC, stuff that we need to use to help support you. This is the us documents. As opposed to the SharePoint on the OneDrive, which is the me document. Okay. So SharePoint, Jerry, is that place to access new and exciting information about your company. It's your portal. And it can be designed to look like different things. This is our engineering site. We have discussions and everything else, and it looks a little different. We have a site for our chili cook-off that we do every year in Westchester County. We have our cook-off sites. There's a project timeline on it, and we post stuff. So all sorts of different things that you can do. I don't know if this sub-site is something I was working on. I don't know if it's still live. If it is, I want to show it to you real quick because you asked. This is just an interface for the SharePoint site. I haven't used it in forever. It's probably been updated. But talking about it, I think it may show it to you. It'd be cool. It may not come up. Yeah, there it is. Well, it's just a template. Basically, what it is a tile view of your SharePoint site. Right, for all of that, I mean, that's essentially what it is. And instead of having that traditional folder, Windows Explorer list and things, it creates sort of like an iPhone or iPad app look or feel to your SharePoint site. Makes it much more touchscreen friendly, if you will. So again, for people that are accessing it from tablets, smartphones, mobile devices, that sort, the tile interface is just is like an add-on that you can put on. And that's what that is. So hey, absolutely fantastic questions. If anybody else has any other questions, The SharePoint is shared with the firm, not shared outside the firm. Yes, that is correct. SharePoint is internal. It's for internal users. You can, just like your OneDrive, you can invite other people to your SharePoint site. For instance, have a client and they do construction, remodeling. And what they'll do is they'll set up a SharePoint subsite for a job. The Wilmington Country Club. And they'll invite vendors, their HVAC contractor, their electrical contractor, blah, 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 to this one site. And they give them access just to that one site. And this way there's a place to put their drawings and their bid docs and all their other stuff that are associated with this one job. Then when the job is older and everybody's gone home, they just take away their access. So you can do that as well. If you're collaborating with, another law firm on a particular case, put stuff into a project-based SharePoint subsite, share it with them. Then when everything is over and you've won and you've been awarded a $20 million settlement and you're popping the champagne corks, you can just revoke their access. It is that simple. But SharePoint is something that you want to be careful about doing. It's not something you just jump into and say, I had a client, oh yeah, I like SharePoint. He took his entire data folder that everybody used and just moved it into a SharePoint library one day without telling anybody, and that broke a lot of things. It's something that you do incrementally and you plan it, and what do we need, and who should have access to this and that, and what departments should have their own subsites, and you kind of go about it that way. If you share a file with someone on OneDrive, can they edit the document and return it to you? Is that version automatically saved? Okay, great question. That depends on how they do it. The easiest answer is if you share it with them and they have edit rights and they get it. If they open it up in a Windows-friendly browser, Internet Explorer, not Safari or Firefox, I think Chrome will work. They can edit using the web app. And if they edit it using the web app, their version changes, their changes will just get saved as a new version. If they download it and edit it offline, they open it up in Word and save a copy of it to their desktop, they edit it in Word, and then they re-upload it, it's going to be put in as a new file. Because they're going to say, oh, sorry, copy of that file, a file with that name already exists. You have to save it as something else. So that's really, and that would be true for you too. If you edit it directly out of the OneDrive, Word or Word Online, because it's your account, it won't matter. But as soon as you download it, if like a third party or you were to download and make a desktop copy of it, as soon as you go to put that desktop copy back in, it's now a new file. Okay, so usually the best thing to do is just edit directly out of it, Word or Word Online, but that'll save your version changes. Excellent questions. Okay, I see it's just about 1 o'clock, and I'm also getting warnings that my audio quality is getting bad. We may be having some storms coming in, and I'm on a VoIP phone, and sometimes it goes a little bad. So I'm going to wrap it up. Again, I am going to record this. I'm going to send Jerry the slide deck in a PDF format, and I'm also going to include a link to this presentation once it's published. This way it can be shared out, and you can come back and watch it, home at night, 10 o'clock, nothing's on TV, you don't want to watch the news or Lucifer, to my dulcet tones. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.